Hello, my name is John Cavernelis. I am living and working in Argentina, where I am involved in primary school education, teaching English, as well as running the IT department at my school. Um, I'd like to tell you a bit about a project that I've been working on over the last while. I've been tweaking it and making it better. It obviously involves the use of technology. And also, I'd like to explain why I like to be a Microsoft educating expert. Simply because a part of my job in the IT department is working with other teachers and helping them to incorporate technology to make their teaching better. So I think that would be a great opportunity for me to spread the good practice and the good word around the school. And indeed, another organization I'm involved in Buenos Aires involves teaching teachers. So I'm quite involved in that, and that would be a great opportunity for me to improve my own as well as the teaching of other educators. So let me get started. I discovered that children, many children, especially second language children, when facing English, they don't always find reading very easy. Some of them, well, just as the image displays, just completely detest reading. And so I try to encourage, through my own example, reading to them, helping them with their own reading to improve. And this is when I struck the problem. I just didn't have enough time, enough energy, enough everything, really, resources to do it on my own. So I did what most teachers tend to do. They battle on and just try and do the best they can until I sat down one day and I thought, how can I possibly improve the reading of the reading experience that my students have? And all of a sudden, it came to me. I just got this idea, and out of that idea uh, was born this Let's Read project. So let me explain the steps. First and foremost, I should explain that the project grew from very little and it became more complex as we went along. It wasn't a completely conceived idea in one go. It was very organic in that way. So, as I said at the beginning, I started reading to the children. So, I started recording my own voice. In that way, I wasn't bound to one or two or three students at a time. They could listen to my voice using headphones or just in the on the tape playing in the classroom while I could work with other students. Very quickly, my students started to enjoy that, and I found that I couldn't keep up with them anymore because my recording just wasn't good enough or wasn't, I couldn't do it often enough to keep up with their needs. And I looked around in our school library and I found a reading scheme, a well organized, pre bought reading scheme that the school had had for a number of years. And it also came with, believe it or not, with audio cassettes. Unfortunately, the quality was pretty poor. And so I decided to digitalize the audio cassettes. And the way I went about it is I popped them into my Walkman. Yes, for those of us who are old enough to know what a Walkman is, connected it to my computer. I used the default sound recording program that comes with Windows. And I pressed record on the computer and play on the Walkman, and so I managed to transcribe all the audio onto my computer where I could manipulate it, and my students had a lot more material in one go. So that kept them busy for quite a while. But then again, I reached the point where the reading scheme wasn't enough. They needed other sources, they needed more literature based reading help. Then I turned my attention to our school community. First, I invited a couple of people to come and read to the children. They enjoyed that very much. But I found that because I live in a country where English is a second language, sometimes the pronunciation that I was requiring, that I needed the children to understand, wasn't always the best. Next step, called on friends from abroad and I used Skype to have them read to the children live I affectionately call it granny Skype, although some of my friends would be very angry if they heard me calling them grannies. But the Skype idea worked wonderfully. However, it did have its limitations. One of the most important being that the internet connection would sometimes stutter and it would break down. So it was another problem to face. I then called on a third party Skype application to record the Skype conversations, which I would then have at home, where the internet connection was better than at school, record them and then play them to the children. They loved the idea because it was like it was live, but it wasn't really. And then I came up with the idea, wait a second, I am trying to do too much on my own. At this point, the idea came home to me. I need to outsource some of this work. And because I've been a teacher for a number of years and I'm fortunate enough to be in touch with many of my students across the world, I leapt straight into Facebook, pulled up my contacts, and I contacted loads of students and said, look, I need your help. I need you to record 3, 5, 6 pages of a story and do it in your best accent, add in voices if you need to. The reply was overwhelming. They were all gagging to hear what they could do for my students in Argentina. So I quickly uh, scanned some pages from different stories, made them into PDF so they were cross-platform, and email and sent them all via Facebook to all my students around the world. The responses were fantastic. They came back in different audio formats. They came back via WhatsApp. They came back via Facebook. And all of a sudden, I was having loads and loads and loads and loads of stories, material. Great. The next problem was that I wanted the children to have access to some of the texts. Unfortunately, the reading schemes that we had at the school, they'd been dwindling over the years. Some of the copies were broken, some of them were lost, there were not enough to go around. That's when I came up with the idea of digitalizing the text. Got out the scanner, scanned the pages, inserted the images into PowerPoint, and then used a third-party program called Flip PowerPoint to convert them into ebooks. These ebooks were now great for the kids. I put them on the computer in the classroom, they'd listen to it. So in that way, I started to have loads of material and with the sound to accompany the reading and so on. The only thing that was needed now was for me to find a place where I could give the kids access to all this material that I've created for them. And here I turned to the school's intranet. It's a secure place. It's on our server at school. The kids from their homes, they have access via their usernames and passwords. So that was great. In order to generate the web pages, I can do some coding. So I downloaded some open source web templates, exactly what I needed. I tweaked them. I used front page to do all of that. And very quickly, I had a smooth looking, functional, cross-platform way of showing, of having the children access these pre-recorded texts. Up until there, I've had a wonderful time with this project. It's still not finished. I see it continuing for years to come, becoming better. One of the biggest challenges I now face, and I must admit that I'm very limited in my own coding ability. I've got to find a way to make these web pages not only cross-platform, but also cross-device. Because many of my students say to me, but Mr. Cavernelis, I love the recording, but it looks funny on my iPhone or my iPad doesn't pick it up properly. And so that's one of the challenges I'll be addressing in the near future. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you the ideas, my idea, as well as why I would like to become a Microsoft educating expert. And in conclusion, as I said at the beginning, I also teach teachers. And so I think that this is a great opportunity for me to learn more so that I can come back here to Argentina and teach teachers about my own experience as well as a few new things that I hope to pick up on the way so that we can improve not only the reading but other aspects of our education and our teaching in a country where resources are not always readily available, but creativity is definitely called for. Thank you.